everybody? How is everybody doing today? For this episode of the Just Ballin' podcast, we are going to do a little bit of a check-in on the 2024 NBA draft class. We're just briefly into some of their sophomore years, or maybe some of them their rookie years in this league, and I just want to give kind of my thoughts and opinions on how they are doing so far. Are they trending in the right direction? Are they trending in the wrong direction? And maybe where I could see them going forward this year. All right, so I'm just going to have like basketball reference for you guys watching on YouTube here, and we're just going to go through each player that was drafted so that it's just in front of us right now. I'm not sure how well this is going to be, but I think going forward, I may try to upload just Tuesdays and Thursdays here on the pod. Hopefully, we can have more guests kind of going forward. I think me and Tucker, Sporting Logically, we did a pod last week talking about like our panic meter for some of the teams. He may be a recurring guest here on the pod throughout the NBA season, which is really exciting. And then maybe like that could be once a week on Tuesdays or Thursdays. And then the other episode could either be solo or different guests going forward. I did kind of like sometimes here on the pod, I was talking about like random topics. Maybe it's a random Bleacher Report article. Maybe it's just like 7 takeaways. So I actually made like a burner secondary. Well, it's like my 6th YouTube channel called Extra SROS, Extra SROS, where I'm just going to be giving you random thoughts over there on kind of different topics throughout the NBA season. And here, this is still going to be more podcast structured, like a normal podcast would be, rather than like maybe a reaction video or those YouTube exclusives that I was doing different from the audio version. And thank you to all that are listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Let me not waste any of your time. Let's go into this. Let's talk about Zaccharie Risacher first. We're going to start at the top. Risacher hasn't maybe been off to the best year, number 2 so far. We have already seen him play plenty without Trae Young. That came for a while last year when Trae Young went down and this team was not really playing for much, and they lost Jalen Johnson at times. Well, Trae Young and Risacher had a decent connection last year, but Trae Young's already gone down this year for the Hawks. The team looks a little bit different, and Risacher has struggled so far this year. I think he's just, I don't know if it's like the new vibe with now playing with Jalen Johnson more than he did last year. You have Kristaps and Onyeka Okongwu, some double big lineups going forward. And now we're going to see the 20-year-old play without his main facilitator, Trae Young. Because last year, I loved his connection with Trae Young in the back or on the perimeter. Just him getting looks and generating looks from one of the best offensive engines in the NBA in Trae. This year hasn't maybe been off to the best start. He's dropped in his field goal attempts, 3-point attempts, which makes sense. Jalen Johnson, Kristaps Porzingis, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker are here. He's not getting to the free throw line whatsoever. He's not really knocking down his threes as much as you would like from last year. And I think there's still fine enough defensive tape from Risacher so far this year. It's not like he's a complete negative there. He's always going to have a little bit more pressure, held to a little bit higher of a standard because he was the number 1 overall pick. You hear people talk about 2nd and 3rd overall picks, not as much as number 1 because it goes, I mean, frankly, so 2019 Zion, 2020 Ant, 21 Cade, 22 Paolo, 23 Wemby, 25 Cooper Flag. Right there in 24, you have Zaccharie Risacher, who definitely was a part of a unpredictable draft class, and I thought he was impressive in his rookie season. Got off to a little bit of a slower start, but from like December of last year all the way to the end of the year, he looked like a 3-and-D guy that you would feel comfortable in your rotation going forward. So I'm not going to put too much stock into his first 5-game slowish efficiency start this season just because of all the new names and faces he's playing with. He's already dealing without his top point guard, Trae Young. Dyson Daniels has not been as maybe impactful as a downhill attacker and somebody that's kicking it out to Risacher as he was last year in the second half. But I think it's a disappointing start, sure. Like, you would hope Risacher would take what he's done in the offseason. I'm pretty sure he had an encouraging Eurobasket. I'm, like, forgetting fully off the top of my head, but I remember what I'm hearing. It was good, or at least the stuff that came out of his camp this summer was encouraging. Like I said, a strong finish to last year's season. You would like for him to be a little bit better so far this year for Atlanta. That's off to a 3-4 start, and I'm very intrigued to see how they look the next 4 weeks or so without Trae Young moving forward. So maybe a little bit of a stock down for Risacher so far, but it could definitely trend back up. Like we watched him last year. He struggled in October. He struggled in early November, and then he really got going and became more efficient as a player going forward. So next up, we're going to talk about Alex Sarr. If you're interested about like one specific player, I'm just going to go like 1 to 30. So if you hear me talk about Matas Buzelis, I'm pretty close to like Devin Carter and stuff like that. Alex Sarr, number 2 overall, was my number 1 prospect in the 2024 draft. I really liked what he could be as a very skilled offensive big man with the ball in his hands that moved extremely well for somebody at 7 foot tall. He was disappointing to me offensively in his rookie year. I was very intrigued about his defensive potential in this league when I was watching him at Perth over in the NBL in the 24 season. I thought he looked the part as a defender in his rookie season. He's going to struggle with not really having much help defense around him, especially for the 2025 Wizards that were a really bad defensive team. But I thought he held his own defensively as their rim protector, as their anchor. Now, on the offensive end, he struggled way too much around the rim. You could see he was physically outmatched. He did not look as intimidating to opposing bigs down low. He's a skinny 7-footer for sure, but he looks a little bit more filled out this year. I mean, you watched him like against Karl-Anthony Towns on Monday night. Karl-Anthony Towns, who's not the most physically imposing big man, or at least the most aggressive big man in the NBA with his strength and size, really made Alex Sarr look outmatched at times. But I think Sarr offensively this year has looked more patient down low. He's looked more skillful, and he has better touch around the rim, in my opinion. He's off to a great start here in 2025. If you want to watch a really impressive Alex Sarr game, it was like last Tuesday, I think, against the Philadelphia 76ers. The date is the October 28th. So it was like last Tuesday, a week from today. He looked so impressive against Joel Embiid and the 76ers in that game, and is arguably the greatest game of his career. He looked good against Jokic last year, but Embiid is definitely more imposing as a defensive big. He had 31 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 stocks in this game as well, and he ended up going 13 of 23 from the field. And what I like about Sarr this year, he's knocking down his threes for the most part. I think the shot selection has been better. I haven't really loved like CJ McCollum running point for this team, and Bub Carrington has dealt with his own struggles we'll get to in a little bit. But I think Sarr has looked more composed this year. He looks more comfortable with his shot selection, shot diet, which is completely different. Like, this guy played Overtime Elite in 2023, and then he goes to the NBL in 2024, to the worst team maybe in the league last year in 2025. So the Wizards have looked a little bit more impressive this year, mainly because of their 2024 draft class looking solid so far. I said throughout my pre-draft analysis, Alex Sarr is not going to be the best rookie. It's going to take some time. We're only 7 games into year number 2, but it looks night and day from what he did last year, because he didn't have a good summer league. He didn't have the best preseason. This year, though, Sarr looks the part. He looked great defensively in the summer league, and I think he's rounding out to a complete player. I still have no idea what's his best position in this league. Will it be a stretch 4? Will it be a full-time rim protecting 5? I don't know, but hey, we're going to learn. The Wizards aren't going to be great this year at the end of the day, and I think what you hope the most out of Brian Keefe in this year is we really get to figure out what Alex Sarr is going forward in this league, and I'm really excited to see his progression in year number 2, because my highest ranked guy in the 24 class, he goes number 2. I loved that for Washington at the time. All right, Reed Sheppard here at number 3. Nationally televised debut game, wasn't the best against the OKC Thunder. I think he looks a little bit more calm out there handling the ball. It's still a new role for him from what he had in the 2024 season. Now, if we thought Reed Sheppard could be like this pseudo point guard shooting guard that can average like 6-7 assists per game, that is going to make light work of pick and rolls, be able to attack defenders on closeouts, I don't know if he's going to be that like skilled of an offensive player at the NBA level, where you could see he looks smaller out there. His first step maybe isn't as quick as it was in the SEC with Kentucky in 2024, but I think Sheppard has looked the part this year. This was not supposed to be his role. He was supposed to be a backup to Fred VanVleet and Amen Thompson. Fred VanVleet tears his ACL, and Reed Sheppard has been asked to step up this year for the Houston Rockets. He's still coming off the bench for this team. His 3-point shot, though, looks great, but he is struggling attacking the rim, and that is something I'm a little worried about. And the mid-range jumper hasn't been great this year. He played a ton against the OKC Thunder in their opening game. To start off the season. But the 3-point shot, like I said, it's been there. He's knocked down 75% of his threes in their second game against Detroit. He goes 3 of 4 against Brooklyn, 2 of 3 against Toronto. 0 of 4 against Toronto, and then 4 of 5 against Boston. That was a really good game where just Kevin Durant, everybody looked great for Houston against Boston over the weekend. Reed, I don't know if he's going to be an all-star. Like, definitely the guy that we get to at number 4 looks way more skillful at the NBA level. Reed was my 3rd ranked prospect in this draft, so I was very high on Reed. I thought he had an incredibly high floor. It's making me scared about smaller guards, and maybe that was why I was a little bit lower on Jeremiah Fears this year, because Sheppard and Dillingham have terrified me a little bit. And Sheppard, I think, has been, sure, if you want to label him disappointing, that's fine, but I think he's been getting better game by game, and we are still just 6 games into like what feels like his real rookie season. Last year, he didn't really have a consistent role in Houston, so I'm excited, like at least a little bit like blessing in disguise. We get to see more of Reed from the Fred VanVleet injury. It sucks that it happened, but hopefully Reed can take advantage of the increase in playing time this year, because like so far this season, Reed is averaging 20 minutes a game compared to 12 last year. And we're just 6 games in to like what feels like I said is real rookie season. So I think we're trending in the right direction, but I want to see him have a little bit better shot selection around the rim and operate a little bit better out of the pick and roll with some really good screen setters in Houston in like Şengün and Steven Adams. Even Amen Thompson could be a good screen setter. Stephon Castle comes in at number 4. Best rookie last year, wins rookie of the year. I will say, now we haven't seen him, Harper, and Fox all out there at the same time, and that's gonna have to wait. Fox is coming back soon, and unfortunately, what's his name? Dylan Harper is going to be out for a little bit with a calf injury. So we're not going to see how they're going to like allocate those minutes, but I was a little worried about your two Stephon Castle. He's looked impressive so far. I still worry a little bit about the outside shot. 34% this year so far through 6 games. I don't think it's going to end that high at the end of the year. I would be shocked if he shot above 34% from 3, but if he's going to be this skilled around the rim, I'll take that. 55% from the field, 63% on the free throw line. Man, I might have to resume blocking ads here on Basketball Reference. There's way too many for you guys seeing this on YouTube right now, but yeah, 55% from the field, 34% from 3. But yeah, Castle, I think it's looked the part this year defensively. I love the connection with Victor Wembanyama. I think him and Wemby are really building up that chemistry going forward. The Area 51 nickname is really dope right now. And if you look at the draft, like San Antonio 100% made the right pick here. I thought it was I'm still trying to figure out his role in the NBA, right? Like when he was coming out of UConn, it was like, can he play the point guard spot? Can he be a wing, or will he be a wing? And if you remember, like his camp did not want him going to like Charlotte. They did not want him going to any team that had a franchise point guard already. I think they didn't even want him to go to like Houston at the time. Definitely not like Atlanta at number 1. I mean, maybe in hindsight, Washington at 2 could have taken him. But yeah, I think Castle has definitely looked the part this year. I think he's looked good as a defender like he did last year. He's been a great downhill attacker. I mean, this year on 2s, he's shooting 66% on 2s, which is very impressive for somebody that's about 6'6". So, all right, so we'll go on to number 5, and we have Ron Holland of the Detroit Pistons. I had Alex Sarr 1, I had Reed Sheppard 3 in my 2024 big board. I had Alex Sarr number 2, excuse me, my 24 big board. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ron Holland. I still am in this league. I thought I don't know if his potential has changed for me or his ceiling in this league, in my opinion, but I just trust like the athleticism, the defensive instincts, and what his intangibles could be at the next level. I was a little shocked when he went 5, because if you remember, like he was talked to going outside the lottery. Him and Rob Dillingham were getting a lot. I don't know if this was just like draft fatigue and we needed new takes leading up to the draft, but like there were talks that Holland could go like 15 to Miami and really fall outside the lottery. He goes 5 to Detroit, where I really thought this was going to be Matas Buzelis, and I think he's looked way more comfortable this year. I loved Ron Holland's defense in high school. I loved it at the G League Ignite for how much of a disaster that collective team was, and the shot was bad, flat out bad. He was a better shooter in the G League Ignite than Matas Buzelis. Not as good, I would say, at the NBA level, but he's been effective around the rim this year, shooting 58% on 2s. I'll take that. 32% on 3s. I will definitely take that. With that volume going up a decent amount this year, and he just looks one of the more athletic players on the floor. I have loved the Terra Twin duo, like their version of Ausar Thompson and Ron Holland. I don't know if Holland, like his efficiency would drop if the volume goes up. Like he's taking more shots this year and the efficiency hasn't really changed too much, which is good. It's actually gone up, which is nice as well. And he's getting to the free throw line a little bit more, and he's been a good free throw shooter this year. I love his transition ability with his athleticism. I think this is a good pick from Detroit. Of how wild the 24 draft was and how much variance there was leading up to the class, I think Holland has looked the part in year 1 and year 2, where this can be a complementary piece around Cade. Maybe it looks a little bit better because Tidjane Salaün went number 6, and he's already been sent down to the G League, and I'm worried a little bit about Salaün. So this was a reach when it happened, but hey, you take your guy to the NBA draft, right? There's not like there's 7 rounds here, and you have a top 10 pick. It doesn't look great. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't look great. Salaün looked all right in the summer league, I would say. He looked encouraging. Last year, it felt like he was like a high schooler playing at the NBA level. So this felt like his real rookie season, and it's not been off to a great start. He's really just been like a catch-and-shoot guy for Charlotte. You could see the defensive upside in his game, and he gives you some really good defensive possessions, but I just think he looks way too lost out there offensively, but he also hasn't had like a great sample size, at least this year. Like he had a little bit more last year, obviously, to really build up that confidence, to really have that consistent ability out there where it's just like, all right, I'm going to play for like 5 minutes and then I'm getting pulled, or I'm just going to be out there for a few seconds and then I'm getting pulled. And you really can't build up that momentum that you would have liked this year. Now, Brandon Miller's already banged up, and I'm pretty sure don't quote me on this if he got called up from the G League, but he recently got sent down. I believe his 2027 option was picked up, which you kind of have to, but it does get expensive either way. Salon does look raw still, man, and he might have been like 2 years away from being 2 years away. I really like the way Charlotte has handled, like this new front office has handled the main decisions over the last few years, but this is the one I didn't get whatsoever. So this one really felt like an outlier in their decision making. It hurts a little bit when like Matas Buzelis went a couple picks later. Donovan Clingan went a couple picks later. Zach Edey went a couple picks later. And you could have used a big man right now. Like, I like Kalkbrenner and Diabate, but you could have really taken maybe a center for the future there. So Salon is still a project. He's still a wait and see right now. Hopefully in the second half, he does get a little bit more run time. I don't think Charlotte's going to be a playing team this year. I could be wrong, but Brandon Miller is already banged up. Lonzo, sorry. Lamelo is already dealing with kind of like the injury management with the ankles. So we'll see if Salon's going to have a prominent role in the second half. You have to give him a shot, though. I mean, he's still just 20. He's 20, but Concanipple's in the fold. McNeely, Sion James, Kalkbrenner, Miller, Lamelo. Like, guys are coming and going that are going to have a little bit more priority on the development hierarchy. And I hope Salon just doesn't get pushed to the side. I can't see them picking up the fourth-year option right now. And it'll be a big, I think, second half for him, a big offseason. And what if this team gets like an AJ Debinca or gets a Cameron Boozer? That's another forward that's going to be ahead of him. When Grant Williams comes back, that's another forward that will play more than Salon. So I'm a little alarmed about Salon. I'm a little worried about Salon. He's only 20, but it's a what have you done for me lately league. And I don't know if Charlotte is just going to get sick and tired of waiting for developmental guys when they haven't made it to the playoffs since 2016-ish. So Donovan Clingan goes number 7. This is who I thought Charlotte could take. I think they had an offer to even trade down with Memphis. That was, oh man, if I remember correctly, I had that in my mock. I had Memphis trading up to take Clingan at 6 with Charlotte in a trade down. And that, like, Jake Fisher, I think of Yahoo then, reported that. And I was like, no freaking way. I predicted a trade and the right pick, which is so rare to do. It's so hard to predict that. And then it was like a false, like he got a false, like, report. He couldn't really confirm it, and I was like, whatever. But Clingan, I think, is a great rim protector in this league for somebody at his age. Now, I worry a little bit about Clingan's like longevity with like the minutes he could play per game. Like, he's playing around 24 minutes per game. Is he ever going to be a 30 plus minute per game guy? And how is he going to look in the playoffs? We may see him in the playoffs this year with the Trailblazers. Who knows? But I think what he does that doesn't show up in the box score is really impactful on the defensive side. He sets really good screens, which is going to be huge for Drew throughout the year, Dame when he comes back next year, Scoot when he comes back this year, and even the offensive development of Denny, Kamara, and Shaedon Sharpe. I think he's physically imposing down low as well, a little bit more than Alex Sarr, where opposing teams that are driving downhill, getting into the paint are a little bit scared because of the wide radius Clingan has as a shot blocker in this league. I think there's obviously limitations to him offensively. He's not the most athletic big man in this league. Like, he's not catching alley-oops at a crazy radius, you could say, for his offensive end. Somebody like a Yves Missi could do that a little bit better. Somebody like Alex Sarr could do that a little bit better. But I really like this pick for the Trailblazers. It makes the Hansen Yang picks still perplexing to me to this day. Yang is already in, I'm not talking about the 25 draft, but Yang is already in the G League. He's a guy that I also said is a big developmental guy. I don't know where his role is on the team in the future. I think Clingan is your franchise center, and I think he's gotten better here in year number 2. I hope we get to see him in the playoffs at one point on this rookie contract, that's for sure. Rob Dillingham, unfortunately, has not played a ton in his career, so he played 49 games last year. Not a lot of that was, like, meaningful playing time. This year, he's played a little bit more. Now, he recently got banked up. I think in that Lakers game, he only played 1 minute. He had, like, a face injury, and with the Ant injury, you were going to hope that he's going to play a little bit more. He's been out there the last couple games against the Lakers, the Hornets, and the Nets. I mean, it's still a lot of, like, dribble pull-up jumpers. It's a lot of, like, him trying to use his shifty ability. He doesn't look the best defensively still. And I hope Minnesota, who's actually been solid in the Ant injury because of McDaniels, because of Julius Randle, can lean on Dillingham a little bit more. They gave up an unprotected future first-round pick in, like, 2031 for him. So I hope they continue to ride Dillingham as a, like, impactful guard going forward. Like, his last couple games, he's played, 16, 20 minutes. Did not really get a stretch like that last year. I'm waiting for maybe the breakout game of Dillingham. He was just so shifty, and I loved his mid-range jumper so much at Kentucky, but you could definitely tell his limitations. Him reading out of the pick and roll, it really affects him because of his smaller stature at the NBA level, where you have, like, giant 7-foot guys that you try to have to see over. You have to try to see around, and it's harder for these guys, for sure, with his, I guess, physical limitations at the best level in the world. So Dillingham, it's a wait and see year two. Once again, I don't know the leash they'll have on him, like when they get fully healthy. I mean, this point guard rotation has been a mess. They've tried DiVincenzo out there. He's currently playing with a face injury. It might be it for Mike Conley. Ant's out right now. They've tried the Bones Highland experiment as well. We'll see who they continue to lean on throughout the course of the season. It wouldn't shock me if Dillingham was headlining a trade for them at the deadline. That wouldn't shock me whatsoever. But I think we're just waiting for that consistent stretch of Dillingham to not maybe just be like freaking Steve Nash, not to be like a main point guard. I don't know who's like the best point guard drafted over like Cade Cunningham, right? It's just I need somebody that could be a little bit of a microwave scorer off the bench that you could trust. I'll probably go a little bit more into the lottery, and then the non-lottery will go a little bit quicker. Zach Edey, we haven't seen this year. This will be a quick one. It was cool. He took like the whole Grizzlies team to like the Blue Jays Game 7 of the World Series. I don't know if he has like a connection there, but that would be pretty expensive for a rookie deal. And then I remember like these guys got NIL money, but then I also like tangent. I think Edey, I don't know if he got NIL money because he's not American, and I think there were some limitations on the NIL for international, quote unquote, players in college basketball. I think there's like a cap on that. I don't know if that's fixed yet at the college level, but yeah, the Grizzlies could definitely use like the enforcer, the rebounder, the screen setter, and Edey's ability coming back. All right, so I was worried about Salon. I'm worried about Cody Williams, who's getting DNPs basically for the Utah Jazz right now. If you're not going to play him, send him to Salt Lake City, send him to the G League, where he can just try to refine his skills a little bit more. It's been a disappointment. Last year, he was not a good rookie whatsoever. He played a lot for a bad team and just didn't look comfortable out there. The shot selection was bad. It felt like he was forcing a ton. He looked lost out there on both ends of the floor, and his lack of like strength and finishing ability really caught up to him, which was a thing at Colorado, that's for sure. And he was not a good shooter in high school, but was a good shooter in a smaller sample size at Colorado. And was not a good shooter last year either. I thought Cody Williams looked pretty good in the preseason and showed flashes in the summer league. I don't know what's going to happen with him. And I do wonder, like, I don't know. It wasn't a great college class in 2024. He was like the fifth or so college player off the board. But I think if you watched my mid-season 24 big board, he was my number one college player. That eventually fall down because he didn't really have the best end to the year, and I was like worried about him as like an offensive player at the NBA level. I don't know if he's a change of scenery guy at one point. Like he was the 10th overall pick, but the other guys in this draft class, and Kyle Filipowski and Isaiah Collier, have looked a lot better than Cody Williams so far. I don't know. Probably could have used another year at college, but there was a weak class. There was a chance for him to be a lottery pick, and he's the younger brother of Jalen Williams as well, which I don't know if that helped him out whatsoever. He definitely could have used another year, I would say, of college basketball. And it's been tough for him to really find his role in Utah so far. And he's not going to be like this offensive juggernaut or offensive weapon with the potential people may have thought coming out of Colorado. You have that in Marketing. You have that in Keontae George. Ace Bailey has definitely lapped Cody Williams in their offensive developmental hierarchy. So where is that for Cody? Is he going to turn into a really good defender? Is he going to turn into a great slasher and cutter and finisher around the rim? Those are the questions we need to see going forward for Williams if he's going to get his year 4 option picked up. Matas Buzelis. So it hurts a little bit more because he's looked fantastic at number 11. I think I had him around this range in my big board. Dude, he's impressed me a lot. If you watched him in high school, he was one of the best high school players in the country, in the state of Illinois. And then at the G League Ignite, the guy could not hit a shot. The guy could not create any lick of separation with the ball in his hands. It looked so uncomfortable out there. And I think we just have to tie that to the G League Ignite and how much of a disaster that was. Because Buzelis might have the highest potential out of anybody in this class. If I had to change like potential rankings going forward, I think I'm going to be a little bit biased because I had Sarr ranked number 1. I'm still going to have Sarr number 1, but like right after Sarr, it's like, in my opinion, like this is like I said, I'm a little biased because I want Sarr to be the best, so I can like look back on myself and say I evaluated it properly, but Castle and Buzelis are right there. You might have Buzelis ahead of Sarr, and I would totally get that 100%. Like those guys, Jared McCain is probably in those talks as well, and maybe what Keyshawn George is doing this year. But Buzelis, man, he's looked great with his athleticism. His finishing around the rim has been great. His three-point shot, like look up his G League Ignite numbers. They were horrible. Watch the G League Ignite game. It was terrible. And I think we just, there's a reason why that program got disbanded. Going forward, he's one of the more athletic young guys and one of the more athletic guys from this draft class as well. With his athleticism, he could put you on a poster. He could score in so many different ways, and it's still like raw at the end of the day, which makes it even more impressive. He's 21 years old, and I think he's fit in seamlessly. Like Chicago has a lot of veterans on their roster and has a deep bench, and I think Buzelis has like found his role on this team and is maybe the future of the Chicago Bulls up there with Josh Giddey. Topic, oh man, I think maybe the most like sad start to a career that you can have. Like he tears his ACL in playoff play for Mega Basket in 2025. So he has a torn ACL. If you watched any of my content going up there, I love Topic as a floor general, as a facilitator. He tears his ACL. OKC is like, we weren't going to really play a guy anyway, so we're okay with you being out for the year. They take him 12. And then he looks solid in Summer League, right? And you're really building up something that could be a backup ball handler. He would play a ton right now with all their injuries. And then he's dealing with now like testicular cancer, which is freaking scary, man. This guy tore his ACL at like 18, 19, and now he's dealing with this at 20. Like, you really feel for the guy, and hopefully everything's going to be okay going forward. And right now he's going to prioritize his health. But man, like it's so sad, like what he's had to deal with so far in his career. I can't imagine, like, an ACL tear has got to be devastating, right? And you're on the shelf, like you want to get out there. You're a young guy, like coming from, where's Topic from again? He's from Serbia, right? Like I know he came from Mega Basket, but he's Serbian, right? Serbian guy going to Oklahoma City. Think about how big of a culture shock that might be. And you're not really playing. Now you're building like your community around your team, but off the top of my head, like there's no Serbians on the OKC roster, right? Like it's a lot of American guys. So now you're trying to fit in a little bit more going forward, and you might feel like a fish out of water. And now you're dealing with this health scare as well, like so far away from home. It's really scary. It definitely is. So 2 more picks in the lottery. Devin Carter, free my man. Free my man, Devin Carter. The guy is 23 years old. When I talked about him at Providence, this guy can be a winning player as a role guy on a good team. He gets drafted by the Kings. Weird pick at the time. They still had De'Aaron Fox, right? And you have Keon Ellis. And it was like, and Malik Monk, where's the fit for him? Fox is gone. They have Monk. They have Ellis. But now we're bringing in Schroeder and Russell Westbrook as well. And Zach LaVine. Carter has not played at all this year, really, whatsoever. I get it. Like, he's not as good right now as Russ. And Russ is dropping almost triple doubles against the Denver Nuggets. What good does that get you? Russell Westbrook is not going to be on this team in 2 years. You hope Devin Carter could be something for you going forward, where it's okay. Like, I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, Vivek and Doug Christie. You guys are not winning a playoff series this year. Like, I would be insanely shocked if you guys walked in to Denver, if you walked into OKC, if you walked into the Lakers or the Warriors and you beat them in a 7-game series. Like, I will say, hands up, maybe I don't know how to evaluate this game. So I don't think you're winning a playoff series. What is the point of playing Russell Westbrook as much as you are right now when Devin Carter is just rotting on your bench, when you're not just developing the young guys that you want to build a foundation with going forward? It's frustrating. It is. And hey, Devin Carter might not be good in this league. He just might not be, but let's find out. Let's find out maybe, because I thought he had an intriguing or an encouraging summer league. After last year, he wasn't good as a rookie, but he didn't have a summer league. He didn't have a preseason. He didn't have a proper ramp up in training camp because he had the shoulder injury. And who had more of a disaster last year than the 2025 Kings after firing Monte McNair, after firing Mike Brown, after trading away your franchise star in De'Aaron Fox? That's not really a great environment for Devin Carter as a rookie coming off a major shoulder injury. I don't know. I think they've handled this like a disaster. Somebody trade for Devin Carter this year, please. Bub Carrington has been off to a slow start offensively this year. He's knocking down his threes a little bit, but he is struggling around the rim. He's shooting a whopping 24% on twos. He's forcing a lot around the rim, a lot of pull-up mid-range jumpers that were maybe working a little bit more last year that are not this year. I'm not really worried about Bub. 20 years old. He's going to get a lot more touches throughout the year. Hopefully we eventually scale back the CJ McCollum minutes and we see a little bit more of Bub going forward, even though he's played a decent amount this year. I just feel like he's not getting to the spots he wants. I mean, Cam Whitmore, okay, offensive player. He's not really going to set up Bub for success either playing with him. I'm mostly intrigued about the 3 2024 first-round picks, excluding, so Keyshawn, Sarr, and Bub in Washington going forward, Trey Johnson, and Bilal Coulibaly. I want to see a decent sample size of Bub at the 1, Trey at the 2, Keyshawn at the 3, Bilal at the 4, Sarr at the 5. Oh, wait, there's going to be some bad moments. There's going to be some young, inexperienced moments with that 5-some, but let's see it. Like, McCollum's not going to be on this team going forward. Middleton's not. I doubt Cam Whitmore is going to be on this team in 2 years. So I want to see kind of the young guys step up. Like Whitmore had some really bad possessions against the Knicks on Monday night, and Keith like pulled him right away for like Will Riley. It was tough. So that was pretty much the lottery. I talked a lot about the lottery. Let's go a little bit quicker through the non-lottery picks. But Kel'el Ware this year, all off season long, right? It was like Dispo liked this guy going forward, and he was so freaking good in summer league. It's like you see those tweets, way too good for summer league. Yeah, that was Kel'el Ware. And preseason, Ware looked the part, that's for sure. This year, though, he's going to be a good backup. Like, I don't know if they're ever going to fully kind of at full strength have Ware and Bam out there for a decent amount like we saw in the second half, but I think Ware is a good backup for sure. Yeah, in hindsight, McCain, maybe a little bit better of a pick. Keyshawn George, sure. Hindsight's 2020. I think Ware has looked apart for sure as someone that can space the floor. There's still some lapses defensively and even offensively as well, where you look back at the motor that was an issue when he was at Oregon or Indiana before the NBA level. So I think Ware, though, for where they took him, I think it still looked apart. Jared McCain debuts tonight. Debuts tonight against Chicago. So maybe by the time you guys are watching or listening, you knew how he looked to start off the 25 season. Or it's 6 season, but I'm really excited just to see how Philadelphia looks after their hot start with like McCain, Maxey, Paul George, and Embiid. Like, how is it all going to fit going forward? Delta Connect. Lakers have had some moments this year with injuries to LeBron, Luka, and Reeves, and like Laravia stepped up. Nick Smith just stepped up. Connect's been like fine, but I don't know if he's really going to be in this rotation when this team is at full strength, which you knew his limitations. He was a little bit older, and if he's not knocking down his threes and moving well off ball, there's not too much value for him in this league. I have been impressed with De Silva as like a shooter this year. I think there has been encouragement and strides as just a floor spacer for this team, which is huge. Now, he's not like the most willing shooter in the world, but I think Orlando has had a lot of disappointments this year. And De Silva has impressed me for sure for what he could be. It's just like, I guess a jack of all trades, master of none type guy. Just can do a little bit of everything going forward. Walter hasn't really been in the rotation for the Toronto Raptors this year. They have a lot of mouths to feed over there. And this team already has some like floor spacing issues. So if you're not knocking down your threes or playing like elite defense, like a Colin Murray Boyles, it's really tough to have you out there going forward. And Walter was always kind of like, not like a boomer bust prospect, but you could see the highs, you could see the lows, and where could he be if the shot's not falling? And if he's not as good as a complementary connecting piece when the shot's not falling, not a spot for the rotation. Jalen Tyson stepping up this year. A little bit of an older guy as well, played at a bunch of different colleges. Cavs took him last year, deep roster. I think with all the injuries this year, blessing in disguise for sure with the injuries to Strus and Darius Garland going forward. He's looked like the part defensively for sure. Like they moved on from Isaac Okoro in the Lonzo Ball trade, and I think he's kind of filled that Isaac Okoro role perfectly. It's kind of been a win-win. Okoro's been solid for Chicago, and for Cleveland, they get Lonzo, who could still make some plays as a backup with Garland out, who's coming back soon, and Tyson, I think, has filled into the Okoro role very nicely moving forward. Yves Missi is a part of the Pelicans, who are kind of a disaster right now. Like, DeAndre Jordan started that Denver game over Missi. I know Missi played more, but like, what are we doing, Willie Green? I don't know. I still think like Missi, what I thought pre-draft, insane athlete, good rim runner, will be very physical inside. There's going to be some like Moussa Diabate plays where it's just like kind of chaotic, kind of all over the place, but he's been asked to do too much. Like last year, everybody was hurt. He starts 67 games. This year, he's probably going to start, as long as he's healthy, he's going to start most of this. Actually, did he start against the Thunder? He did, because Looney came back in that game, right? So I don't know who they'll eventually go to as a starter moving forward. De'Ron Holmes hasn't really played much this year. Makes sense. It just gives him another option. Like if Jonas Valanciunas got hurt, Aaron Gordon gets hurt, Holmes can step in. We won't really see him play meaningful minutes, I think, until an injury happens, because he's part of a team that has like title or bust mentality this year that added some depth in the offseason. But I'm excited to see when that time comes. AJ Johnson, a lot of young guys, they need to get runtime in Washington. Might not play meaningful minutes for them till after the deadline. So we really can't say much because, I don't know, Keyshawn George has been top 5 2024 draft pick this year. 18 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 55 from the field, 54 from 3. Not been a good free throw shooter, but it's been a good defender, in my opinion. And he is hitting really difficult shots. He's hitting pull-up jumpers, step-back jumpers, creating separation in isolation, which is so encouraging for a raw 3D guy coming out of Miami that I thought was going to take some time. Struggled in the first half last year. Finished the season off on a strong note. And you can make a very good argument. You could sit me down and tell me, you know what, this is the most important guy in the Wizards' future right now. It's more important than Sarr, Trey Johnson, Koulibaly, Bub Carrington. It's Keyshawn George. And I may be on board with that going forward. Keyshawn George has been one of the more impressive sophomores this season and is going to make this year a little bit more enjoyable for Wizards fans. But Komi Daddier, like the Knicks could have taken Keyshawn George. Probably wouldn't be like this because of the opportunity, but oh, man, I don't know if the Knicks are going to keep Daddier on the 4th-year option. I mean, they need one of these young guys to pan out, given the second apron limitations. He's 20 years old. He's still raw. Send him to Westchester. He needs to get some runtime in the G League, in my opinion. Dylan Jones, I don't think is currently on a team. He won a title. It was cool. He was not on a team because he got traded to the Wizards to save some money. They waived him, and then the OKC still brought him back for the ring ceremony, which is cool. But he's already 24. He's probably gonna have some spot in the G League going forward for a team. He might even be playing in the G League right now. But yeah, already not on a team. A rare miss by Sam Presti, but don't worry, he had to hit like 10 picks later. Terrence Shannon Jr. was always going to be due for a bigger role this year. I don't think he's really taken the most advantage of the increase in playing time this year. I think Jalen Clark has looked better for this team going forward. An older player as well, 25 years old. I think they need him to be more consistent as a downhill attacker. Ryan Dunn, always going to have his like offensive limitations as a shooter, although he's been whatever this year like he was last year. If you remember, he got off to like that hot start this year. But this is an athlete. This is a good rebounder. This is a switchable defender that Phoenix needs. It was a weak class. They had the 28th overall pick. They even traded down. And Dunn, watch his film against Wemby and the Spurs. He's been all over the place defensively this year and as a rebounder as well. I think it was their win against the Kings to start off the year, where I'm just seeing this guy fly all over the place. And I think it's just something Phoenix has been missing over the last few years with like young athletic guys that can rebound. We haven't seen Isaiah Collier this year. I'm really excited to see him. Hopefully he can take strides in year 2. And Baylor Shireman has played a little bit more this year, but same thing with like Adults Connect, the Terrence Shannon Jr. How long is the leash? He's 25 years old. He's been like knocking down his small amount of threes and shots this year, but he hasn't really had consistent playing time, which we'll see if that's going to go up or down throughout the end of the year. So a quick like second round recap. Jonathan Mogbo, like part of that deeper rotation in Toronto, hasn't really had like the same opportunities as last year, like a Jacoby Walter this year. Kyle Filipowski, knocking down his shots, hasn't really maybe looked as impressive so far this year. I can't really say he's knocking down his shots because we had high expectations after Summer League where he won Summer League MVP, I think. So I would like to see him a little bit better. Tyler Smith, not on a team. He got picked up, I think by somebody, I thought, right? I thought he got picked up. I think he did. Maybe it was the Wizards. I don't remember. Somebody picked him up, I think. But yeah, it's just you go to die in Milwaukee if you get drafted by them, unfortunately. Kolek has had some moments for the Knicks this year. Still is going to have his limitations with his athleticism, but I think could be a guy for the Knicks, like maybe going forward. But I think he's looked better this year. Furphy, I would like for him to be a little bit better with his increase in opportunities as well. Like why? Well, he's been hurt this year, I should say, which is unfortunate because with all the injuries in Indiana, this guy might actually play 25 minutes a night because Quentin Jackson has looked like the most impressive, like, breakout guy for Indiana so far. Juan Nunez haven't seen. Bobby Klitman barely played. AJ Mitchell, this is like Sam Presti. You somehow know exactly what to do every single time. This guy might win most improved player. He could win 6th man of the year. There's been so many injuries in OKC, and AJ Mitchell has really stepped up this year. He looks so skilled around the rim. The 3-point shot is like teetering a little bit, but this is a home run pick. I wish I liked him more coming out of UC Santa Barbara. Unfortunately, Jalen Wells has not had a good start to year number 2. He was an encouraging rookie for sure, especially as a second rounder. I thought he looked good in Summer League, but because he had a scary injury last year. I don't know if that's affecting him right now, but he has not been a good wing, and I think Cedric Howard may start over him going forward. Oso Ighodaro, I think I would like. I don't mind as a player, but I think I'd like to see him play a little bit less for Phoenix, just because he's not the most athletic guy, maybe not the best rebounder in the world. Still a high IQ player, but I think it's like better as a third center than like a rotational guy. Probably rather see like Richards, definitely Mark Williams, maybe some Kaman I watch going forward. I talked about Adem Bonus so much pre-draft, how this guy just like oozes energy out there, and he's definitely made some big time plays. Gonna play a lot less when Embiid is off the minutes restriction, but with pick 41, I thought they did good. KJ Simpson, not really cracked the rotation. And with Sexton and Trey Mann there, probably won't play too much unless there is a notable injury. Jurisic hasn't played. Pelle Larson has played a decent amount for Miami this year with the Hero injury, with the Powell injury so far. And I think it's going to be better in his scaled back role. Like, he should not be closing games right now for Miami. And I think they're going to like him a little bit more when he's like a rotational bench guy rather than like a more meaningful wing, which is not going to be the case when they're fully healthy. Jamal Shed still makes plays defensively this year. I think it's probably looked like the best Raptors 2025 draft pick so far in this rotation. Cam Christie, really haven't seen a lot of. No Reeves, Ingram, Harrison Ingram, Tristan Newton, Enrique Freeman, Melvin Ajinka. Quinton Post is somebody that has played this year. He hasn't really been knocking down his shots too much, but I'm glad that Golden State is at least trotting him out there. They could be a team that looks to add a big at the deadline. And since Al Horford doesn't play back-to-backs, He's going to have a role in this team. Cam Spencer has played more this year, which I kind of love. I love Cam Spencer at UConn. The dude played like a perfect, I don't know if he was like a villain, but he was one of the best characters in that 2025 season. I remember watching him at the combine, like rooting for him because, hey, he's got a cool background coming from like Loyola to Rutgers, UConn. There was a cool moment with his brother, Pat. He's been solid this year for the Grizz, and he signed an extension. Anton Watson's been on a couple teams now. Bronny actually kind of made some plays against the Portland Trailblazers on the defensive end of the floor. Is still so far away from being, and like offensively, he had 6 assists. Wow. Kind of didn't realize that. But still has ways to go as a player. He's just 21 years old. He should not be playing for this Lakers team, to be honest with you. At full strength, he wouldn't. But you know what? I think he has made some plays in his playing time this year. I just wish he was a little bit more consistent as a shooter, where he could find his value in this league. McCullough, still, I think, on the Knicks as a two-way guy, but I don't know if they're ever going to give him some runtime. He's already 24. And then Ulrich Chomsky already got waived by Toronto. And the last pick, Arrow Hukporti, I think has potential as a rotational big in this league. 23 years old. Played a decent amount when Mitch was out, or at least had some runtime, but hasn't really played a lot as of late for the Knicks, so we'll see where he looks going forward. And I hope you guys did enjoy that. Like, Justin Edwards has also, like, not really had the most amount of playing time this year, and we'll see how that looks when Philly gets healthier for, like, the undrafted guys. If you guys did enjoy this episode of the Just Ballin' Podcast, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up on this on YouTube, or hit that follow, rating, review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Really helps the audio pod grow. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.